Welcome to King Lizard's Game Lounge and Forza Horizon free racing action from PvP. So basically I'm going to jump in a series of different races today and stitch those together to be one video, and what I'll do is obviously mix those up a bit so you've seen different vehicles. So I'll probably take the best race from each of the various events that I raced today. So first up, I'm at Mill Cross Country and I'm driving the Bentley Bentayga. This is an A800 tune I've put together, so it's one of my own tunes, and this vehicle is part of the Sport Utility Heroes. It's actually a pretty quick vehicle and something that regularly gets me a podium. I have yet to fail to get a podium in this vehicle. Normally I get a second or a first, sometimes the occasional third, but I've never yet missed getting a podium in my Bentayga. It's actually a really good car. I think this was a DLC car, I believe. Oh, it's 2000, they're getting a bit friendly with me. So I hope he's feeling brave, because this thing's going to murder him on the corner if he tries to take me out. So straight into this section. This is actually quite a tough circuit, this. The worst part being going down this hill, because a lot of people will fly over that hill and smash into you and wipe you out. So as long as you get a little bit of a lead, it's quite safe to go around that corner. But at the beginning of a race, that corner's a nightmare. You also want to take this ramp just left off central as you lift off, because if you take it totally left and your car doesn't have enough speed, you're going to hit the trees and wipe out in quite a bad way, and that's going to probably cost you a race, or at least quite a few places anyway. So this thing is doing me proud at the moment. I've got that Honda, I think. Actually no, it's my teammate right on my backside there. So Major Nutter there, part of Red Run Racing team. So at the moment Red Run Racing's got a 1-2-3, so we've stolen all the podium spots at the moment. Third lap in. Let's see how things fold. My colleague is beeping the hell out of me, I think because I'm crossing his path, but he's not able to overtake me because this thing is pretty quick for, you know, such a heavy sort of 4x4 vehicle that it is. Now I'm trying to cut these corners as finely as I can. Now the advantage I've got over my colleague is his vehicle's quite a light vehicle and it does tend to slide quite a lot, that RS 1600 he's driving, whereas this Bentayga is pretty solid. Obviously I've got the weight disadvantage, which has actually kicked in there, nearly cost me that corner, but it's got good enough speed to recover and acceleration. So nice win there for the Bentley Bentayga, one of many that I've had in that. So if you're interested in the tune, just look up King Space Lizard. That's King space Lizzard, all lowercase. So next up, we've got a race at North Plains Scramble. Now, I didn't get to choose my vehicle here. One of my pet hates with Forza Horizon 3 is that, you know, sometimes it loads up and you get like a split second to choose your car, which is just never going to happen. So if you're in A class, you, from my experience, you always land up with this 2014 Infiniti Q50 Rouge, and it's part of the Super Saloons division. This one is an A798 spec as standard, and it's actually not a bad vehicle as spec. It's definitely probably not a vehicle I'm going to win a race in, but I might be able to squeeze a podium out of this thing, so we'll see. But it's pretty annoying that you know the game doesn't go, okay, let's put you in the last A class vehicle that you drove, or the last A class vehicle that you drove that you own, as opposed to giving you a vehicle that you don't, you know, you do own, but a spec version of it. So it's a little bit frustrating that the game doesn't auto pick. Nearly got pushed out of the checkpoint there. That wasn't intentional. We were just taking the same line. So I managed to squeeze in front here. I'm not sure I'm going to hold this for long, not with 3 laps, but I'm going to try. I've taken that well too wide, so that's probably me going to be overtaken any second. Yep, there's my teammate. So that's Major Nutter out in front. And currently Red Rum Racing, where are we? We are first and second and 6th. at the moment. So we're all driving different vehicles. Now, my other colleague in 6th place also didn't get to choose his vehicle as well. So he's stuck in one of these also, but he's having a bit of a tougher time than me. I was fortunate enough to be at the front of the grid, which does help, especially if you're in a spec vehicle. But this is actually not doing too bad a job, this vehicle. Kind of keeping up with that Escort RS 1600 there, because that is actually a very good tune. I know that tune. I might even drive that tune later today just to show you how good it is. So I'm getting a little tap there, a little friendly tap from the I think that's a Ford Focus behind me. It's all good racing at the moment. Obviously being out in front, you get the benefit of getting probably some of the cleaner racing, as long as you can get out quick. Get stuck in the middle of the pack and it can be hell in Forza Horizon 3. But that said, Forza Horizon 3 is much cleaner than Forza Motorsport 7. You know, Forza Motorsport 7 is a dirt fest as far as I'm concerned. You know, there's very few drivers that actually try to race in there from my experience. Maybe I'm just unlucky, I'm getting bad lobbies, but in Forza Horizon 3 it's actually a hell of a lot better to race now than it was obviously at release day, because you know, a lot of the stalwarts that play this game are still left playing it, and as a result they want, you know, good race, most of those guys. So you're actually getting much cleaner racing out of Forza Horizon 3 from my experience. You still get the occasional bit of dirt, but in general I'd say, you know, 70% of the time you get a respectable race. A little bit of a tap up the butt there. Again, I don't think that was deliberate. I think that's just kind of, you know, driving in quick to overtake, and then maybe I've taken the line as he's come across, or she's come across. So over the hill into that water, third lap here. This is pretty tight. This guy's right on my backside. I'm trying to take these lines nice and tight, keep it close to the checkpoint so I don't make any mistakes, but also sort of limit the overtaking. Oh, I think that was a clash there. I don't think that was deliberate. We just, again, we're trying to take the close line. I think I'm going to get him on the straight here. Yeah, squeeze the second place. Nice. That was a good race. Quite enjoyed that. Quite a tough one. But that, you know, that Q50 Infinity isn't a bad vehicle out of the box at A798. It's quite respectable, and I normally do get a podium in it most of the time. So next up we're at the Grand Tour Sprint, and for this vehicle I've actually tuned one of the DLC vehicles from the Hoonigan car pack. This is a pretty quick vehicle, but it's pretty unruly with standard spec. It's a very difficult car to drive without a tune on it, at least for racing anyway. So I thought, I'm up for the challenge. I tune this thing and see if I can get a good tune to race with. So this one's an S1900 spec, the only S-Class car I've driven today as yet, and this has got some serious launch on it, and it's actually got some pretty good control. It's a little bit slidey, but because of the kind of torque in this vehicle, I'm able to shift out very quickly and regain traction and pull me around the corner, avoiding taps most of the time. From my experience, I screwed that up a treat. I took the wrong trajectory there as I went through the corner, but luckily I've got the speed on the straights and I'm getting a bit of a gap on these guys. So this is the first time I've raced this. I have driven it in the game against AI in Unbeatable and beaten them several times, so I knew this was going to be a respectable tune for online. I wasn't expecting it to blow people away though, like it has, which I'm quite happy. It's absolutely mental speed this, but it's got, you know, like I said, respectable control. You definitely could not race the spec version of this. It is a bloody nightmare to drive, but this tune is doing me proud, so I'm pretty happy with this. I got a pretty big lead on my opponents there, and we as Red Rum Racing at the moment have got first, second, third and fourth. It's a complete shutout at the moment for the rest of the drivers in here. So 70% of the way through the race, a little bit wide there. Let's reel her back in across that checkpoint. In first place here, still no sign of anyone behind me, which I'm pretty happy about. Doesn't make for too interesting a race obviously when you're up here on your own, but it's good to know this vehicle's got some guts in it. Let's see if there's anyone behind me. Yeah, I've got two cars behind me, red team part of my team, obviously. So again, we're still in first, second, third and fourth Red Rum Racing. So pretty good at the moment. And we're 91% of the way in. It's pretty much a straight run here. So that's first place in the bag for my Hoonigan tune. So this was the 1978 Hoonigan Ford Escort RS 1800. And that was an S1 900 spec tune. Again, it's my tune, so you can download it. King Space Lizard, all lowercase, 2 Z's in Lizard. So next up, we're at City Fields Cross Country, and this one I've actually jumped in that 1973 Ford Escort RS 1600. This isn't one of my tunes. This is Major Nutter's tune. That's capital MAJOR space NUTA lowercase. So the only capital was the M. Major Nutter with a space in between. And this is a pretty quick car from my experience. It might get thrown around a bit on this circuit. That guy's trying to murder us there. Good riddance. Because there's a lot of ups and downs on this circuit, I remember. And because this is quite a light vehicle, there is a risk that it's going to land a little unpredictably at times. So we'll see how that goes. But it's my first time driving this ever. I just literally downloaded the tune and stuck it on this thing, and I'm fighting this, I think it's an Alfa Romeo 8C Competizione I'm up against there. So I've managed to squeeze first place out at the moment. I've got 2 cars right behind me, both of which are Red Rum Racing team colleagues as well. And this is quite a nasty old circuit, this, if you get it wrong. You know, even these little bits of debris, that really shook my car then. And because, as I said, this car is very light, that debris can send this thing off track quite easy. So you want to try and avoid collision. Oh, I nearly flipped it then, front to end. That's cost me a few places there. So I'm now in 5th place. So I've got to work this back now. I've got to act pretty quickly as we're at almost 50% of the race. So quite a tight corner coming up. Few people misjudged that one there. That I think has got me into 2nd place. Excellent. So quite a few people stuffed that corner up, but that's how quick this thing is. I'm all over the show here. Oh, landed quite badly from that jump. Get a nice tight entry into this section, and I'm making some ground here on my teammate Demon's Reflex, another good driver, another member of Red Rum Racing. And straight across this track into the water. That was a bit of a jump. Made some big time up there. I think my colleague slowed down a little bit for that hill to avoid risking the jump. So let me get a little bit closer for a few seconds and get thrown around a bit, quite a bit here. Oh, not nice landing at all. My colleague landed badly there too. Sent him wide. I need to reel it in a little bit right here. So I managed to squeeze the first place at the moment, and tight turn coming up. Straight across the grass, getting very close to the finish here, and it's still pretty tight. So, oh, I think I've lost my colleague actually. I think he must have bounced bad back there. So squeeze the first place, that was a bloody good drive. That's a really good fun car to drive, that Major Nutter tune, 1973 Ford Escort RS 1600 in A800 class. So, and Red Rum Racing there managed to pull in, what was that, 1st, 2nd and 6th. So next up for the final race, we are at River Rush Cross Country, and once again I'm in my Bentley Bentayga, and this is part of the Sports Utility Heroes A800 class. So let's see how we do here. Okay, so I'm starting off in that 5th or 6th place there. Got caught up on my colleague there. He's driving that Raptor, I think that's an F-150 in front. Getting a little bit of love taps from behind. Not that kind of a guy, back off. Oh, he launched through there. Another truck, sorry chap, I'm landed up clipping one of the other racers there unintentionally. Big old jump there, getting pushed around a bit here, losing some ground. I need to try and get myself up into those first 3 to get out of being beaten to death at the back of the pack. That was so close. I thought I missed that then, that checkpoint. That was seriously close. So those guys, I think one of them went wide there, didn't they? They totally screwed up that next checkpoint, missed it entirely. So maybe they were going home for dinner or something. And then I've got Colleague up in front. That's actually quite a formidable tune, that. There's an aerial Nomad. I'm not sure whose tune that is, whether that's Wolfman's tune or whether it's one he's downloaded from the community. But it's one he uses all the time, and it's pretty good tune. He normally gets a podium in it. Serious air here. Jesus. That was crazy. So managed to make some ground up here. Just missed that concrete pillar by inches. That was so close. I got caught up on the Wolfman, trying to get away from him. Oh, he's tapped me unintentionally. I clipped the tree. Luckily I didn't get stuck behind it, but that's cost me quite a lot of speed there. So now I've got to play catch up again. Big jump. And we've got a bit of a right-hander going up the hill here. Big old skid round the corner. I've got someone very close to me fighting for third place there. And that Nomad has left me for dead at the moment. Got to try and reel him in. I haven't got long now. I've got 30% of the race to reel this in. This thing is pretty quick, and it's quite handy on these sort of cross-country events where it's very sort of turbulent terrain. Very difficult terrain to negotiate. So I managed to make some ground here. I don't think it's going to be enough though. I've got 20% of the race. Oh, made a big improvement on time there. Keeping his distance ahead of me at the moment. It's going to be pretty tough to catch him, I think. All that doesn't help. I got bounced out awkwardly there from that jump. That's lost me some space, although I've caught it straight up there. I think he slowed down quite heavily for that corner. I had to back off there because I felt the car sliding a bit too much. And then into the finish. I don't think I'm reeling this in. I'm going to catch him a little bit, but his car's too light and agile. That was a good race. Another really good race there. Quite enjoyed that. Hope you guys have enjoyed this as much as I have. It's been good fun racing today. I'll be back with more Forza Horizon 3 PvP in the not too distant future, hopefully next week. Please be kind enough to maybe rate the video if you enjoyed it, and maybe subscribe if you liked what you saw. Thanks again for watching. Take care, keep well, and most importantly, come back soon.